It's Jose. Alright, welcome back to part 2 of the top 3 players each team should target according to Bleacher Report. In the last part, we talked about the first 15 teams, so make sure to check it out. And without any more delay, let's go on to number 16, the Miami Heat. The Heat are currently 19-14 and are looking to continue to build off of their finals appearance last season. The article suggests that the Heat get Donovan Mitchell, Pascal Siakam, or Tyus Jones. It's obviously becoming clear that it's going to be the same rotation of players being targeted for most of the teams on this list. Now, the Heat, however, have a ton of young assets that they can package up for a deal if they really want to. Ideally, I see them going after Donovan Mitchell as he's a great fit with the Heat, and the Heat are in need of a scorer for a superstar that can give you consistent points on any given night. I just hope that for the sake of Heat fans that it doesn't end up being another Damian Lillard fiasco. Next up, we have the team that actually landed Damian Lillard, the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks are currently 24-9, and the Bucks are fresh off of the Damian Lillard trade, so they don't have that many assets. But the article still thinks they should target DeLon Wright, Royce O'Neal, or PJ Tucker. DeLon Wright would be the perfect defensive player that the team needs, but again, they don't really have the assets to give up for him, so ideally I think they should go after PJ Tucker, who isn't cracking the rotation on the Clippers and has proved on the Bucks to be a great presence for a winning team. Shout out to Anthony and his Timberwolves, who are up next. The number 1 seed in the West are currently 24-8 and aren't in need of much, but they could use a backup point guard. Bleacher Report thinks they should target Monte Morris, Vasily Micic, or Bones Highland. Out of all of these players, I personally love Bones Highlands the most, and I think he could crack the rotation in most NBA teams. I could see the Timberwolves picking him up and meshing well with a playmaking forward like Kyle Anderson. Next up, we got the New Orleans Pelicans, who are 19-14 and are finally seeing a healthy season from Zion Williamson. The article thinks the Pelicans need an upgrade at the center position, and I certainly agree. They suggest Jarrett Allen, Isaiah Stewart, or Clint Capella. Allen has already been in talks about trade rumors, but the Cavs would look for a player to pair alongside Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, which other teams have much more to offer. I like the idea of getting Clint Capella though, but it's just about the Hawks and how they plan on moving forward with their team, and if they want to repackage those like Murray and Capella or try to find a player that complements those guys. Next up is my favorite team, the New York Knicks. They are currently 18-15, and the article is focused on the Knicks getting a star to pair up with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, so it wants them to target Donovan Mitchell, DeJounte Murray, or DeMar DeRozan. I personally think that if the Knicks are going to make a move, it should be for a backup point guard like Bones Highland to fill the void left by Emmanuel Quickley, and think they should save their chips for Donovan Mitchell if he becomes unhappy with his situation in Cleveland. The shock of the season so far, the Oklahoma City Thunder are up next. They're currently 22-9. Now, I didn't expect the Thunder to be as good as they are, and I knew that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was good, but not the MVP caliber player he's becoming. One more piece could push this team and make a contender, so the article thinks they should target Lauri Markkanen, Pascal Siakam, and Bojan Bogdanovic. The Thunder still have a ton of picks and a lot of young assets, so they could get any of these deals done. I personally think Lauri Markkanen would be a great fit alongside Shai and Chet Holmgren, and really makes them a serious force in the West. We got the young team that's been playing really well up next, and that's the Orlando Magic. The Magic have a 19-13 record, and they need to add some more offense that would be the key to make this team better, so Anthony Simons, Bogdan Bogdanovic, or Corey Kispert are the names brought up in the article. Most of these players fit the timeline that the Magic are going for and provide more offensive power that the team really needs right now. I personally would love to see Anthony Simons as a Magic if the Blazers decide to move on with him, since he was in trade rumors during the beginning of the season. Bogdanovic is 31 and would be more of a win now type of move, and Kispert would be if Orlando wants more of a shooter type player. Philadelphia 76ers are up next, and they currently have a 23-10 record. The team is doing surprisingly well after the James Harden deal, and Tyrese Maxey is looking like a sure all-star candidate. But the team still needs an extra piece to finally make it past the second round. The article proposes that the Sixers get Pascal Siakam, DeMar DeRozan, or Gary Harris. The Sixers have a lot of competition for Siakam, so I don't think they would land him. So realistically, DeMar DeRozan would be more likely, and he offers a ton of offensive firepower for the team. Plus, him and Harris only have 1 year left in their contract, so the Sixers would free up more than $50 million in cap space if they acquired them. The Phoenix Suns are up next, and they currently have an 18-15 record. It's hard to rate this team and add more since on paper they should have a great team, they just can't stay healthy. On top of this, they have little to no assets to trade after, giving mostly everything up for Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant. The article thinks Goga Bitadze, Monte Morris, and TJ McConnell would help them. I think if the Suns make any of these moves, they might just have to get a third team involved. And I think someone like Monte Morris doesn't make them much better since he's injured, so why add another player to the injury report? TJ McConnell would be a great playmaker, and Bitadze would add more size to the team, but what could the Suns give up for them? It seems like a hard ask for a team in such a deep hole. The rebuilding Trailblazers are up next with a record of 9-23. This team is obviously going young, so the article thinks draft picks, Cam Whitmore, or Jarris Walker would help the team moving forward. I've been a fan of Cam Whitmore for so long and I was excited to see him play, but his role isn't exactly doing much in Houston, and the same goes for Jarris Walker. The Blazers have a great player to give up like Malcolm Brogdon and Jeremy Grant, on top of having picks if they choose to go that route. Alright, light the beam because the Sacramento Kings are up next. The Kings are 19-12 and look to build off of their first playoff berth in a while. The article suggests that they get Lauri Markkanen, Pascal Siakam, or Kyle Kuzma, and they would help them tremendously. I would love to see Markkanen on this team as I think he's a perfect fit on both ends of the floor, and the team has a lot of assets they could give up for the upgrade. The problem with not only Lauri, but the other three is that almost every other team in the league is looking at these players and coming up with packages, so unless they gut the roster, they might not have the best package to give up. We're on to the Spurs, who are the worst team in the West with a record of 5-27. The Spurs are in desperate need for a guard, so the article wants them to get draft picks, Brandon Podziemski, or Kobe Buffkin. I think it would be great if the Spurs could draft a guard and develop him alongside Wembanyama, but looking at the other two names, I don't see the Warriors giving up Podziemski since he's had a huge impact on the team and is a fan favorite. And Kobe Buffkin is a 15th overall pick that hasn't played much at all, so he'd go for cheap and would maybe be good. Me personally, I think the Spurs should tank the rest of the season and try going for a high pick, and if the opportunity arises, they could try to strike a deal with restricted free agent Immanuel Quickley and see where that gets them. The Raptors are up next and have a record of 13-20. They're coming fresh off of trading OG Anunoby to the Knicks and still have more assets to work with to build around Scotty Barnes. They have a lot of teams looking to get Pascal Siakam, and the article wants them to look at Colin Sexton, draft picks, or Jarris Walker. I'm not too sure about the players here since they have a guard in Quickley and Schroeder, and Utah doesn't want Siakam. He doesn't fit with Markkanen. I think their best bet is to get picks or maybe a forward like Obi Toppin, who was just moved to the bench with the Pacers, and he has always meshed well with Immanuel Quickley. Speaking of the Jazz, they're up next. They have a 15-19 record. The Jazz could go in two different directions here and add on to the impressive play of Lauri Markkanen, or trade him and rebuild properly with young talent. Regardless, the article thinks they should get draft picks, DeJounte Murray, or Josh Green. It's clear that two of these options are for a rebuild, and DeJounte Murray would certainly make them a potential playoff team, but not much more than that. And finally, we have the Washington Wizards, who would be the worst team in the East if it wasn't for the Detroit Pistons. They currently stand with a record of 6-26. Like most of the other bad teams, the article thinks the Wizards should get draft picks, Jarris Walker, or Davion Mitchell. I think they should only go for the picks and Mitchell if the price is right, but the team needs to get legitimate value out of Jordan Poole for anything to prosper, whether it be trading him or building off of him. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are all 30 teams and who they should target. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more basketball content. I'm Jose Hoops, signing off.